Red Dead, what's the first game? Red Dead Revolver is technically the first game. Then you do Red Dead Redemption, I'm like, your naming is screwing with me. But my wife loves watching me play video games. The only games she enjoys playing are two types. Fighting games, where she can beat the crap out of me. And games that involve changing clothes, which sometimes are also fighting games. So like Dead or Alive, something like that, like I unlocked this new outfit and now I'll beat the crap out of you with it. And she's very good at that. But I like playing, obviously, a larger variety of games. And I started playing Red Dead Redemption 4 on the PS4, and it's on a PS4 Pro and a 4K TV.
Oh boy.
And my wife would just come in and go, oh, that's pretty. And so she'd sit there and watch, and she loved, like, started getting into the story, and she followed, she goes, this is a really cool story, I like this, and she was having fun and everything else. And then whenever I'd have to go hunting, you're not gonna shoot that little animal, are you? I'm like, sweetheart, I need an achievement. She's like, don't do it when I'm in the room. And I'm like, well, it's only like a white rare stag, but sure, I'll walk away from it, thanks. Or, are you hungry? Why don't you go see what's, can you go grab me a drink from the fridge? Yeah, thank you. She come back, oh my God, they're showing you skin it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I'm pretty excited to get to moderate this. Hopefully, we're early, we're 10 minutes early, so I got here early to make sure the room was set up. I usually prefer a wireless mic, but I can do this for a while. So, you guys have approximately 5 to 10 minutes to ask me questions about Fan Expo, pop culture conventions, anything like that. Do you guys have any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to tell dumb stories.
Why are they scheduled so bad?
Why is it scheduled so bad this year? Great question. Because I'm a contractor, so while I have business cards that say Fan Expo, I'm just a jerk from Florida. They pay to do cool stuff. So I can be honest about things. And the honest reality of it is, the challenges of this year's Fan Expo have been, we have a couple awesome women in the office, and earlier last year, they both, like within a week of each other, both caught a slight case of pregnancy. And they both just had their kids in July. And as soon as like she stepped out of the office, it was one of those moments of, oh, who did all of this? And it's like, that's what she was for. She was awesome. Why aren't you guys? Oh, so we've had some communication things that are now fixed Saturday morning of the show. But yes, no, so there were some challenges, and it was made twice as challenging because everybody everywhere has been focused on how can we make this the 25th year. So when you put a perfect storm of my favorite person in the company isn't there and I can't bug her all the time anymore until she comes back, and oh God, it's the 25th year, let's do everything to be awesome, suddenly you realize there's so much going on at once. So a couple of hurdles, but overall the show's still been amazing. In the anime track, we've had like a J-pop concert every night. We've done amazing things. Sean Schemmel, the voice of Goku, is over there right now scaring kids. So, a good question. So, any other questions about conventions and stuff before I start making up? Okay, over there.
Is there ever going to be another Red Dead Redemption?
I don't know. I'm just the moderator, man.
You can at least ask.
Yeah?
I think you can only redeem yourself.
No. You can redeem yourself many times because you redeemed yourself in the second game, and then you have to prequel it in the first game so that you could redeem somehow. If they do
Sadie
a third,
Adler
I'm like
spin-off.
Red Dead Redemption 3 Calgary or something, I don't know. So I've learned Canada the past 3 years, and your Calgary is my Texas, I've learned. Everybody has big
that's
cowboy
accurate.
hats, and that's where I get this cool jersey. So my wife and I did that show recently. There was a bunch of people wearing cowboy hats. They all had different accents than I was used to, so it's confusing. We have people sitting and stuff over there. Hi, how are you? Oh. Are you guys here for a panel? Different one? Okay, just making sure, because I don't recognize anybody. Yes? Can I say what? Wait, I can't hear her because they're talking in my ear. So you need to be quiet. You're shadowing. And go away, staffer. You're being a pain in my butt.
I mean, he only brought some cool loot for us.
Did you bring us cool shit? And I'm like, oh.
Cool shit. That's what we're.
Loot.
I take back everything I just said behind your back. What am I supposed to do with this?
Just chuck it.
Show us the loot.
Hold on. He's got to say bad words. You can't hear. Can I keep anything? I'm keeping all of it. There's nothing behind here. You see nothing. All right.
Nope.
All right, I'll figure it out. All
Absolutely
right,
nothing.
so going back to, sorry, we got diverted. What was the question that I can't hear because I'm deaf and old?
Oh, it's this man. Can you please sing Rye Whiskey?
Can I sing? No. There's the first part of that question that's the challenge initially, which is, can you sing? And if you just stop at that part of that question, it ends the rest of that question immediately. I have this really great, deep, clear, booming voice, and it's because I could do voiceover and acting and stuff like that. But the one thing I never added to my wheelhouse was singing.
Have you heard Sean sing?
Have I heard Schemmel sing?
Sean.
Sean. Who's Sean?
From the game.
Okay, so if you go from the point of just a first name, if you knew the number of Sean's I knew, you just confused me really bad because all I'm doing from the stage right now is going, do I know you and what do you know about me and you're scaring me. Does anybody in this room know anything about Red Dead Redemption? Raise your hand. Would you like to leverage that into free stuff? Raise your hand.
Oh shit, yeah.
All right, want to grab a mic?
Yes.
Huh? No, he's great. He's nice guy. He's good. Come on up. There's 4 mics. Pick one.
I should win.
So I'm going to make smart aleck remarks as you ask questions.
You were like top percent of the players.
Everybody having fun?
Oh yeah.
You good con?
Yes.
Wow, that was lackluster. Come on.
Be loud for the guy giving you free stuff. Come on, people.
Free stuff!
So who thinks they know a lot about Red Dead Redemption 2?
I do.
100%.
We're gonna find out.
Oh, damn right.
Who thinks they know? Like, who's played Red Dead Redemption 2 more than 3 times? Who's like, wow, you guys have no lives. I can say that because I've also done it, so that's cool. All right, we'll start with a couple technical. Let's start with an easy one. All of this will be arguable, so I'll try and make it a little bit more specific. What's the best horse you can get before Chapter 3? So that guy's hand raised real quick. Yeah.
The Arabian.
You've got to be a little bit more specific.
Arabian horse you can get the same meat.
There's like, actually,
Do you know?
I see you like waving your
I
hand.
know the horse, but I don't know.
There we
That
go.
White Arabian.
That's amazing. My
Why
answer
didn't
would
you
have
try?
been whichever horse isn't
Because-
dead.
I was thinking it was black, but I think it's both. I think you can
Thank
get
you.
both.
These are your witty remarks. You gotta do better. Come on.
No, they laughed at that one. How many people, watch this one. How many people have had their horse die while playing the game? Raise your hand.
Hi, yes.
Now wait, keep your hands up. How many people have had your horse die and it was your own damn fault? Keep your hand up. Now, keep your hand up if that's happened more than once. More than 5 times. More than 10. I kept naming all of my horses after characters on a TV series called 30 Rock because it was amusing my wife. And I finally had to jump to community characters because I killed everybody in the show.
For me was when I first started playing, I didn't quite get that. Like I didn't realize that my horse was actually dying and permadead. So I just kept going back. And like I had the DLC, so I had this like 2 copies of the same horse. So I went back for my second. I'm like, oh, my horse is right there. Oh, the name got reset. That must be a glitch. And so then, of course, I go along and my horse dies again, and then like I have this weird brown one. What? This isn't my horse. Oh my God, they're dying.
Yep. Fatality. Wrong game. All right, what else you got?
All right,
More trivia.
let's step it up a little bit. What is Micah's last name? I saw your hand go up super fast. Come on up. That's a good one. I am gonna get progressively harder. So for all you like,
Oh boy.
for all you diehard fans.
Whoa, no, you get to come back. Come back here. No, I remember you.
Uh-oh.
We'll double or nothing. We'll give you another prize if you can actually sing it.
Get ready, guys. Okay. Oh my God. Okay.
Oh, you tried to put me on the spot. Oh, is this recording?
Yeah.
Con. Come
Yeah, go
on.
ahead.
Okay,
I'm recording you, no pressure.
Okay. Oh Molly, you're safe alone. I leave my whole parents, my house and my home. My love for you has caused me to roam. I'm a rabble rouser and Dixie's my home.
That's enough. Give her a round of applause. That was awesome. Oh, now she's like, crap, I left it recording. I should have brought my phone. All right, back to you.
All right, we'll crank this up, make it a little bit harder. What is Herbalist Challenge number 9?
Oh fuck.
Ooh, I saw your hand in the back there. Sorry, you gotta speak up a little bit. There we go, come on up.
Remember when I said I'm at 94%? It's because I won't do those.
Bonus question. How many herbs can you not collect before the end of the game?
6.
5.
4.
I have no idea. I told you I didn't do this part of the game.
There are 4 herbs in New Austin that you can't get.
Oh, and that is why I will not spend more hours figuring that out.
Oh, I spent a lot of hours figuring
Really?
it out. Oh.
No, I stopped at that point I was doing everything else, and my wife's like, you can go for 100% because the only game I have 100% on is South Park Fractured Butthole.
The fractured
Butthole, yes. And so she's like, oh, you can do it again because you're so far. And I was going through and it got to this challenge like, oh, that's neat, and not happening. So, yes, my gamer tag, anybody wants to add me, is at that Tom Croom, TOMCROOM. And then you can laugh pitifully at how bad I am on PlayStation 4. If you try to add
We
me
can
on
do this anyway,
Xbox,
can't we?
you can, but I put my Xbox One in storage because the PS4. I just split the room. Wait, let's ask that real quick. How many people play the game on PS4? Raise your hand. How many people play it on Expo? How many people play it on? Is it on PC yet?
I don't think so.
See, I want it on Switch because I love that I can travel now, and I would be that jerk on a plane,
Oh, 100%.
killing horses nonstop. All right, what else you got?
Related question. This is a little bit of an easier one. What is the name of the outfit that you get for completing all the challenges? Oh, no, I saw your hand in the back in the blue. No, not doing it? Cool. Saw your hand go up.
Legends of the East.
Yeah, come on up.
Legend of the what?
Legends of the East. That's the whole point of doing the challenges.
Which again, 94%. 2 things I can't do: challenges and sing that song that I made her sing.
It's West.
Yeah, I thought it was Challenge of the West.
That's the
No,
first game.
it's Legends of the East.
No,
That's the first one.
the first game is Legends of the West.
Google it.
Uh,
100% Legends of the East. I remember being super confused by this because I'm like, I'm from Japan.
All right, everybody has a cell phone. Now's your chance.
If anyone wants to fact check me and I'm wrong about something,
We'll
you'll
give
get
you
a
him
prize.
as a prize.
I'm not a very good prize. But.
I got use for you.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh my.
I could have use for you.
Sir, it's a family show.
I'm a little bit nervous now.
You should be. All right,
Done.
you got another question? They're not here yet, we can do one more.
Towards the latter part of the game, there is a kindly old gentleman that you meet in the northeast part of the map who has a horse, who is a very special horse. You way in the back, your hand went up before I was even done the question. The horse's name, yes. Yeah, there you go, come on.
I actually knew that one.
Did you really?
Yes, I remember that. Because you missed the part, my wife was watching the game because she was getting into the story, and that his storyline made her really sad.
Follow-up question, what is the old man's name? Saw your hand go. There we go, come on up, you get a prize too.
Oh, they're on the way. Okay, so keep going. Okay.
Who's enjoying the trivia? Like, am I bombing this, or? All right, I got some confidence. Thank you.
Then, okay. in the States, I don't know if you have in Canada, they obviously were doing what we call golf clap, which is they're being polite.
No, let me have
Like these four right here, I watched all of them doing this. Ready?
let me have this.
Is he doing good at trivia? Make some noise. Make him feel better.
Definitely plant, bros.
Watch this. Are my jokes making his trivia better?
Yeah.
You feel better now, don't you?
A little bit, yeah.
There you go. Screw you guys. I paid attention to those of you that clapped and those of you that didn't, and I know how to pick people who answer questions. Good luck.
Now, since you play PS4, I no longer like you. I'm an Xbox person.
Hot take.
We're real sad about it up here.
Hot take.
I have all the loot.
Okay. I'm okay being hit by somebody who plays a Microsoft computer masking as a game system.
Shots. Shots.
This was about Red Dead Redemption, right?
Well, it's Red Dead Redemption. One of the beautiful things about the game, and before you guys walked in, we pointed out, is my wife loves watching me play certain games, and it has to do with the visual and the engagement of it. And what's made Red Dead such a unique piece is, especially I have a PS4 Pro and 4K TV, is unless you get the full experience, I mean, it is just gorgeous. You can sit there and stare
It
endlessly.
is very beautiful.
And the attention to detail with the simplest sound effects, and then the detail that goes too far, like, oh, the horse is pooping again. But even the engagement of the voices and the characters and storyline bring a lot to it. And games like that are immersive, and what makes the game amazing is an amazing game system like the PlayStation 4! See how I went all the way around there just to do that. There. Oh, sir, I'm
This
from
is starting to go in the wrong
Florida.
direction.
Florida. That was a vacation. I'm from Florida.
Next question. Next question. Another kind of easy
Yes.
one.
Oh, you've got a question. I think he's raising his hand like it. I'm going to take your question there real quick. What's your question?
Yeah, why not?
Why does Red Dead Online suck?
False.
I have not actually played Red Dead Online.
Nobody's got the answer for that.
Yeah.
I have not played Red Dead Online either, so neither one of us can confirm or deny that for you.
No.
Everybody kills you in the first shot.
Really?
Yeah.
Now I'm glad I don't play online.
What?
It doesn't sound like it's the game. It sounds like it's the
You just walk in and you're like, let's see.
Next question for more free stuff. What is the first name of the leader of the O'Driscoll gang? Boy, I saw a lot of hands go up real quick. But I'm pretty sure doing the red in the back.
I do.
Why did you
Come on,
raise your
guys,
hand? Raise your hand. Are you like scared?
No.
What is this?
Okay.
That's a clutch.
No, I'm just kidding.
Here, you get this. We still have a random comic book?
Yeah, we're still
Okay.
just assessing how much more free stuff we have to give away. We want everyone to have stuff. That's the goal, right? Everyone wants stuff.
All right.
Well, you have no snap
Wait,
equip for this
I think
one?
we're good.
Are we good?
We're good. So, ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause for the Fan Expo staff for giving us free stuff.
Thanks so much for your participation, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the cast of Red Dead Redemption 2.
You all right, boy?
Good, gentlemen. My name is Tom Kroom. I will be your moderator. I'm on loan from the anime division because this is Fan Expo's logic. They couldn't find a moderator. They double booked, and they're like, "Well, we have anime nerds. They must play Red Dead Redemption." And I literally got a phone call going, "Have you ever played Red Dead Redemption 2?" And this is, and no exaggeration, I'm like, "Bitch, 94% on PS4." I mean, what? So I'm very happy. If you guys grab a seat, I'm going to have you each introduce yourselves. And I'm going to sit here and fanboy and listen to your voices while looking away because I'm such a big fan of this game. One more time for the cast, folks. So we can start with you and work our way down. If you can introduce yourself and state your role for the audience.
Sure. Hi, I'm Alex McKenna, and I play Sadie Adler.
Hi, I'm Benjamin Byron. Byron Davis, and I play Dutch Vanderlyn.
Hello everyone, Roger Clark here. I played Arthur Morgan.
Hi, my name is Rob Weedoff, and I play John Marston.
You all right, boy?
So as we get started, we're gonna just start a conversation. We'll bring in some questions from the audience. My first question, as a fan of the game and just fan of game production, how long? Because I don't read stuff online, so this is where I take my opportunities. How long or how much time did each of you spend in the recording booth for your respective characters, recording all the lines for such a wide open world game?
Well, I can tell you that we worked on this game for about 5 years, but most of it was not in a recording studio. Most of it was done in a giant motion capture, performance capture situation, which means that we were in what I like to call superhero scuba diver suits that have these balls on them, so that all the cameras around the studio, where we're essentially doing theater in the round together, with cameras close up in our faces, which is why it looks very much like us. Yeah, and I mean, off and on for 5 years. There was a little bit of voiceover recording, but
5 years.
Yeah.
Ouch. Okay.
I did probably, I think Corey told me, over 200 days of performance capture, and I did probably about 20 days in the booth with the helmet on capturing.
I'm a math nerd. I'm doing 365 days a year, 225. My God, that's like 3/4 of a year of your life.
It was longer than high school.
What an answer.
I guess I'm supposed to talk now.
Oh yeah, we're rolling down. You're next.
Yeah. Performance capture, brand new, this medium that we had the luxury to learn more of, and of course, I mean, Ben and Rob had done it before on Red Dead Redemption, and I had done it before on previous video games, but the technology, we got to see it unfold in front of our very eyes, and it's this brand new medium that is now the main way that most major performances are captured in video games now, and you see it as well with Marvel Studios. You see Mark Ruffalo dressed up in his tight spandex with the balls on when he's being the Hulk, etc. So it's really becoming a very prevalent way to capture performances, not just with video games, but with film as well.
Yeah. I'm not sure how many days I worked.
More than me, I know that.
But I know that I worked more days on Red Dead Redemption 2 than I did on Red Dead Redemption, and I wasn't even the playable character. So it was really, really a cool experience. Working with Rockstar, it's just really a gift. They are all really cool people, and they're obviously very successful. I think a lot of people would imagine that a company that successful globally would be really cutthroat, really what it is though, it's a bunch of really motivated, very talented people who are very supportive of each other, very supportive of all the actors, and it was a really, really cool experience. I'm very fortunate to have been able to experience.
It's always good to hear when because there's so much negative press. I mean, you can turn me down.
Yeah.
Wow, no, I've got that scary deep voice. When you hear a lot of negative press,
You have a scary
Why
deep
did he
voice.
get the good mic? You can hear it.
I don't. That's why I was doing the.
It's all right,
Quick,
we're
turn 'em
actors.
up.
We can project.
But yeah, you hear so much negative press for video game companies. It's always really nice to hear when there are companies that do care, and I think that carries on into the quality of the product, because I mean the game is just a worldwide phenomenon at this point. So,
But you think about all the different people that are working on a title like Red Dead, and every one of them is at the top of their game, and every one of them is working as hard as they can. We were all dedicated to a single goal, and that was to create as fine a story, as fine an experience for all of you as we could. And that was from the person who's working on, the horse balls, which he just did on his own, I was told. He just did it on, it was I could do that, that'll work. Everybody's thinking with that kind of granular detail about how to make this thing unlike anything that ever existed before.
it is fun because we all go for the worst details. When we were talking before you came in, I pointed out that my wife enjoys loving me play because the game is beautiful. And I'm like, it's gorgeous, the landscapes of this, the horse pooping. So, do we have any questions in the audience? Please raise your hand if you do, and when I call, if you stand up so we can hear you, please. Yep, yes sir, in black shirt.
My question is, so I know celebrities and actors and movies and stuff are recognized from their physical appearance usually. You guys have voice actors.
Do you guys get recognized as your characters, even though you're mocapped when you're out in real life?
Hi, Stavros. Thanks for the question, right? Not a lot, although it has happened a bit. Now, I'm not sure whether that's so much from the game as it is from my social media, but I was in my hometown with my boys. I was in a diner once a couple of weeks ago, and this young woman came up and said, "Excuse me, are you Roger Clark?" And before I could say anything, my 4-year-old son went, "Yeah, and I'm Rory Clark, and that's Colin Clark." So it's starting to happen, yeah. But you know, it's funny because I went into a GameStop a couple of months ago to buy a copy for my super because he's awesome, and he hadn't played the game yet, and so I'm at the cashier and I'm buying it, and he says, "Oh, this is a really good game. You know what won Game of the Year?" And I went, "No, I don't think it did." And he's looking at me like, "How are you so sure?" And I went, "Nah, just forget about it."
What about the rest of you? Any issues or?
I've gone through TSA in Boston to come up here. One of the agents said, "I know you. You're Dutch." And I said, "Yeah, who are you?" It's Wes. And then we went when we flew to Philly. So we're flying to Philly, a very early flight, and I'm at the, don't think less of me, I'm getting a Bloody Mary at about 5 o'clock in the morning. And I sit down next to a guy and he looks at me and he's like, does a pretty, are you, Dutch? Yeah, man, how'd you know I was Dutch? And he goes, I'm like, Sadie's gonna be here any minute. And then Alex walked up and he was like, "Oh my God, you look just like Sadie." Sounds like her too.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually always wear hats and hats like this, and it was a funny thing where when you've been at these cons and people are like, "Gosh, you dress like her too." I was like, "No, she dresses like me."
Chicken before the egg.
Yeah.
I live in a really small town, and I grew up in that town, so I think people know who I am just because I'm from there. And so when I travel, if I'm going to a city where there's a convention, there have been a couple people that have said, "You're John Marston, right?" And I think, well, yeah, but you know that because you're going to the show that I'm going to. But no, people don't. They don't put it together. I don't look like John. Maybe if I talk and I'm by the right person, they might think, "That sounds familiar," but no. Which is absolutely fine. It's really fun to come and meet so many fans and so many cool people at these things, but just walking around on the street, a lot of celebrities that are recognizable can't walk anywhere, can't do anything. And we could go wherever we want.
It's funny you said if you're standing by the right people. With the number of copies of that game out there at this point, though, there's a lot of the right people that are going to hear you now. So, perfect. Who else has a question? All right, right there, my singing friend.
Hi. It's not a question. I have something for Ben.
What's that?
Uh-oh.
I saw you yesterday. And
That's right, you were dressed up.
Sean.
Were you Sean? That's right.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
What's your name again?
Katie.
Katie. Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Look at that.
It's,
I drew you guys too, but
Yeah.
I had it on.
Okay.
There you go, check that out, folks.
The technical term for this is badass. That's so beautiful.
And it's really fun looking at the face when he speaks, isn't it? Hold that up and say something.
Badass.
See?
Thank you for your faith, Katie. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, right straight there. Yes, sir. Go ahead and stand up.
My question is for Mr. Marston. What was it like stepping back into the shoes of John Marston after the wild success that Red Dead Redemption 1 had?
Oh.
What was it like to step back into the role of John Marston after the success of the first game?
Really, really a cool experience. I saw a lot of familiar faces. Our director specifically, who's such a really fun, cool guy. And obviously, John's younger in this game, and we kind of had a discussion about what is the deal? Is he just kind of a little punk kid? And he's like, yeah, basically, yeah. He wants to fit in, he wants to be cool like the guys that he looks up to, but he doesn't know how, and he doesn't have a reason to have that respect that they get yet. So he's frustrated, and I thought, so it's just like me when I was in high school. My sister was a senior, and all of her friends and their boyfriends would come over, and I thought it was so cool, and I'd crack a joke and think everybody was gonna laugh, and they looked at me like, would you get out of here? So I thought, that's great, I already know how to do it. Perfect.
That's a good question. All right, let's go Superman over here.
Oh my. Hey guys, I have two requests. One for Benjamin, one for Roger. Could Benjamin please just say, Arthur, we need the money. Roger, can you please say, it's okay, girl, it's just a scratch.
Arthur, we need the money, and it's okay, girl, it's just a scratch.
Arthur, we need the money.
It's okay, girl, it's just a scratch.
All right, my Xbox friend over there, go stand up. We had a lot of talks before you got it.
Playing as Dutch Vanderland, what did you think of the character as he was slowly slipping into madness during the ending of the game?
Spoilers.
Spoilers. Well, I'll tell you, you don't often get to play a part like Dutch. Like, never do you get to play a part like Dutch. It's just remarkable to me. Fascinating, vexing, devious. But playing the Descent, I think, and I was talking to somebody at the table earlier today, I think in a lot of ways it's probably as hard for me to have played it as it is for somebody who cares about the character to watch him go through it. Because Dutch was so confused and uncertain, and I think that all, spoiler alert, centers around, well, without spoiling it, it centers around the fact that he doesn't have access to Hosea's counsel, and he loses faith in his ability to trust. And so he turns to the most constant voice of support that happens to be played by the amazing Peter Bloomquist, Micah Bell. And that was probably the wrong guy for Dutch to be listening to. So the short answer is, playing it broke my heart.
Feels.
I'm not going to make you stand up, but all the way in the back with the leg.
He's fine.
I met you. He was playing rugby.
Crack my ankle on that.
Ouch.
Just a question, just so I don't yell. For Roger and Rob, the last missions of the final campaign and then epilogue, was it as emotional for you guys as it was for everyone else here? Like physically playing it. I don't know how the acting process goes, but was it so emotional for you guys?
Yeah, I think it was. I remember when with that scene we did where I give you my hat.
Oh,
so there are
boy.
two versions of really, but yeah, we were about over 4 years into the contract by the time we started doing all those missions, and the animators were very helpful because they always constantly were giving us context as to what was happening narratively around whatever scene we were working on. And the amazing Matt Tempest, Jason Barnes, and Matt Beek, who's Canadian, they always kept reminding us, you guys have just done a bank robbery. John, you've been shot. Arthur, you're half dead from TB, and like that epic, crazy voyage towards the end. They kept reminding us how exhausting and tiring it was. But yeah, I remember when we first got our sides for that. Typically, we would get our pages about a week in advance, and then we'd learn it, and you know, we would practice and whatnot, and run lines in the green room. And by that point, we were a gang. The actors were a gang, you know, because we had been working together for so long. So it was quite emotional for me, especially because you had been such an awesome mentor for me, you know, because you had been through it before and I hadn't. And you would say stuff like, you know, people are gonna get tattoos of you. You know, but Rob was such a great teacher, you know, and in telling me what to expect and whatnot. And then when we did that scene, it was very much a role reversal because Arthur is John's mentor, you know. And I remember giving you that hat and stuff. That was we got it done in about 3 or 4 takes, I think, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did. Thank God. That was that scene. I think it was the last scene. I mean, we may have done it like one of the versions, I guess, somewhere, but we ended shooting with that scene, right?
The one, yeah. If spoilers, but if you decide to go back for the money and Arthur gives John his hat in that situation, that was the last performance capture scene I did.
Yeah, well, me too. And it was, we were all kind of made aware this is the last shoot, and then we were on the last day of the last shoot. And so there, on the stage that we use, there are probably, I don't know how many people are kind of off stage on computers doing whatever they do, and then there are the director and a few animators, and there are probably 15 maybe or so rock star people, and then however many actors are playing their characters on set. But there are several other people that are in the building that are never on the stage. So for that scene, they brought everybody in, and it was really a big deal because everybody had worked so hard for so long on this game, and it was such a big moment too in the game. So all of that combined, it gives me almost, I'm not gonna cry, but it really was a big moment, and it was so cool. And when they decided to take the take that we did, and Rod with his familiar cut, take that.
Yeah.
When he said that, just everybody
started clapping.
And
he gave me this longest hug ever. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And I did tear up then. And which is funny too, because I thought, me as a person, if I was in this situation, I would absolutely be standing there. I would bring him with me. I don't care what he wanted. It would be, you're coming with me, then you're not going out any other way. But because that wasn't my choice. But so John said, how emotional does John need to be right now? And I was asking, what I was thinking was, would he cry right now? And so the first time I asked it, the director was like, you know, it's a pretty big deal. And then he kind of walked away, and I thought, I don't understand what I'm asking. So I asked him again, and he was like, yeah, you know. And I said, and he realized what I was saying. He said, John Marston does not cry. And I thought, okay, I know that much. But I almost did. I'm trying to get you to see it was really a big moment. I enjoyed it a lot.
Now, I have an important question to spin off of that. Does anybody in the audience have an Arthur Morgan tattoo? Not yet. Okay, I was just going to check for us. All right.
Someone's going to get one.
It's going to happen. All right, let's get you right here.
Exactly, right here.
Sure.
I love going back to the camp. It's like fantastic. And I want to know, did you record you guys singing together? Or would you just actually have like a fake campfire set up and you guys just like jam
When you
it
guys
out?
would go to the camp and record the campfire songs, was that together or separately, or how did you guys record that?
For me, it was a bit of both. We all learned the songs together. I remember we would practice them. A lot of people ask me what my favorite scene to do in Red Dead was, and it's kind of a tie. One is when you go fishing with Dutch and Hosea after rescuing Charlie, and you're singing in the boat. That was done together. I was rowing in a makeshift canoe. We had been practicing the songs, and like I said earlier, you know, we had been working together at that stage almost 5 years. So we had become very close friends. But then another one that I particularly remember, where we all did it together, was spoilers, but when you bring Jack back from Bronte, and that wonderful party where Javier plays the guitar and he sings that amazing song. That was one of the days where all the gang was really there, and it was a very emotional time because we were celebrating. You know, it's one of the few bits in the game where the times are good and everybody's happy, and it was just wonderful to share that with everyone. But then some of the other random stuff, like that I did a lot of actually was voice acting in the booth. And I was speaking to someone else earlier today about that. You know, the guy who plays Uncle is wonderfully played by James McBride. He actually wasn't the initial casting for Uncle. It was originally it was Spider in your game, but then in our game we had a wonderful actor by the name of John O'Craig, who unfortunately passed away. But so when James wonderfully stepped in, he ADR'd all of John O'Craig's lines in the booth, but Rockstar did keep John singing. So whenever you hear Uncle sing in Red Dead 2, it's John O'Craig, the original Uncle that you wonderful people unfortunately didn't get to see a lot of his work, but you do get to hear him sing around the campsite.
And they also named O'Craig's Ron.
That's right.
John.
Yeah.
He was a hell of a guy.
Okay, let's, I've been doing this side of the room, let's go over here. Man with glasses right there. You stand up so we hear.
My question's for Mrs. Adler. When you were, did Rockstar give you a call when you were getting introduced to the online world, or did they already have that pre-planned?
Well, you mean for some of the newer stuff?
Yeah.
It was a very exciting call because, you know, I was like, oh wow, they're already doing the third game? Great. But no, they gave me a call, and of course everything's very top secret always, and was just excited to come back. Truly, they didn't really tell me what I was doing until I got there, which is very, it's Rockstar's MO.
Yeah.
I mean, for the first 2 years, I had no idea that I was the character that I become in the story. I was like, oh yeah, she's pretty cool. And then, you know, by year 3, I was like, oh wow, she's fucking awesome. So yeah, they gave me a call, and then I was very exciting because they were interviewing husbands for me, and I got to work with a great actor and got to hear a little bit more and experience a little bit more that had been referred to in the actual game. But yeah, I mean, I'm always ready if they're listening for some more missions.
How was it playing such a powerful female role for people everywhere to be really?
I like that question because, again, I said my wife has watched me play. You are her favorite character. So yeah, what is it like playing such a strong female role in obviously a male-dominated time period of history?
Well, I think it was wonderfully progressive of Rockstar to have this woman who, when you meet her, has just been brutalized. I mean, the worst of the worst that can occur to somebody. Fortunately, there weren't any children there. It's the only way it would have been worse than it already was. And watch her develop into this strong, powerful, take no prisoners, however, still have a heart where she loves the people she loves, is incredibly loyal to them, and isn't a love interest, which I thought was awesome. One of the cooler decisions, even though I know a lot of people were hoping that something would happen, but I think it gives her this autonomous force presence in the game that she's not being evaluated in relation to a man. So it was amazing. She's the greatest role I've played thus far. I mean, Sadie Adler is like
epic.
A heart human for me, and to get to bring her to life is my great honor.
Great question. Thanks for asking that. My wife been watching it was she would. What you guys missed was my wife would watch, tell me not to kill animals, and then give her commentary. And that was the biggest point she brought out is, so this is a female character? Yeah. Does she have a love interest? I'm like, no. She's like, good. Gentleman right there in the blue shirt.
Yeah, you were just mentioning your wife enjoys watching you play Red Dead.
Yes.
How do I get my girlfriend to enjoy watching you?
Quality question.
Be really bad at it. So that you have to do it so long that they have no other choice.
Or just get a different girlfriend. I mean, who doesn't like Red Dead, man?
Total field.
His answer's better than mine. You in the hat, sir.
I have two questions for Mr. Vanderland.
Two questions for Mr. Vanderland.
Yes. When do you think you realized the Dutch was? I'm not sure if this was asked before. Maybe if I should phrase it another way. But when do you think Dutch started descending into madness? Was this from the Blackwater or heist, or was it after Bronte fucked them over?
At what point do you think you were descending into madness with your character?
Well, I do think, I think that the writers did something very intelligently in that whatever's gone wrong with him, it's going wrong already when the story is in motion.
Yeah.
So we have this, there's still this great echo of this Blackwater massacre that existed in the first game too. I thought they'd answer the question when I came back. I figured we were going to do it. We never did it. And I think that was really rather genius, because we don't know exactly what snapped in him. But I do like that you pointed to Angela Bronte, that scene with Jim Peary.
Irritated when there was almost nothing in the trolley station, as he quoted in the game. That greasy son of a bitch set us up.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I won't repeat that.
I apologize for saying that line. I meant no disrespect.
No, but I will say that there is. I'm fond of pointing out the fact that Bronte. There's a line that got cut on the skiff when Dutch has Bronte tied up and the whole gang's around him, and Bronte says, offers $10,000 to everybody in the gang to turn on Dutch, and none of them do. As Dutch gets to full froth, he said, which are you, a law-abiding citizen or a self-appointed king? And in the playing of that, and the sort of my thoughts about these beautiful words that Dan Hauser had written, was that in Bronte, Dutch sort of saw the bankruptcy of his own ideas, that what Dutch wanted to be was what Bronte sort of was. And I think it repulsed Dutch, and he did what he did. But that certainly sent him further, the cheese further off the cracker. Yes.
That's a great question. Oh, you had a second question? Okay.
It's rather silly, actually. I was just kind of wanted to know if you and the rest of the cast of Red Dead ever had plans to go to Tahiti.
Since completing the game, have you and
That's
the
a good
cast
question.
made actual plans to go to Tahiti?
No. It's a funny thing that became. It wasn't like while we were making this game. Did you think Tahiti was that big a deal?
No.
People sort of grabbed onto it. Like it's all right for a little bit too, you know.
You never know what they'll latch onto.
I think that's a great idea for a corporate retreat for Rockstar.
So if anybody's recording, just post the video, tag Rockstar. This is an amazing idea.
Do it.
So great question. Let's go to this side again. In the back with the black hair, yes, I'm pointing at you. You look to your right. Stand. Yep.
This is for all of you. I was just wondering what your favorite individual lines are for your characters. Big fan of the game also.
So what was your favorite line in the entire game with hours and hours of recording? Pick one.
All right, I got one. Nobody forgets, nothing gets forgiven.
Oh.
I really like that line because that was used in a trailer for the first game and probably somewhere in the first game, but I'm not sure. But if you, as Arthur, if you walk by and you find John and Hosea sitting there talking to each other, John's kind of trying to figure out what's going on. He's already realizing this is not right. We've got to change what we're doing. This is bad. And he's asking Hosea, what's going to happen here? And Hosea says, no, people are gonna forget. And then John says the line again. I just really like the line. And I said it in 2 different games, so it's my favorite.
I like, it's on the sheep stealing mission with John at the beginning of that. There's a bit of sibling rivalry at the beginning, and Arthur is one of the people in the camp, I think, in the gang, that sees the end coming, you know, and I really like the fact that that is a huge source of conflict within the gang, and some of them know that their time is coming and others don't. And Arthur says something like, you know, I was the prize pony once, but this life, this way, we're the last, I reckon, and we ain't long for it.
Lenny!
I think there's too many. I mean, there's a lot. It came up yesterday, though, on the first game, on the first day where we worked, the first scene we did, that was the professor and you upstairs and me downstairs. We're really right next to each other because that's a long story. But there's a line Dutch has that I liked a lot. 2 lines in there. One is you say you always were a good speaker, and Dutch just goes, I was. I like that. And in that same scene, he says, would you kindly send the professor out here so we can show him what we really think about the art of anthropology? And I like that one a lot.
I mean, Sadie's got a lot of great one-liners. Oh man,
That's a tough question.
It's really a hard question. I mean, I know. I feel like when I say I ain't afraid of dying, that's one of my favorites because I think it's the most revealing of her and really where she's at when she comes into her own and her power, which makes her a little trigger happy, but also, you know, a great addition to the game because she's absolutely fearless. Yeah, but I feel like, I mean, one of Arthur's line where he says we're more ghosts than people is just, it's a haunting line to me when I think of the game, and yeah, so that's Alex's favorite, maybe.
Good question. All right, let's go all the way to the back with the hat.
Sadie.
There you go.
One thing that I really love is your whole cast seems so close. I mean, you have to be after working for 5 years together. Did you guys work with each other often and get a chance to chill out with each other, like hang out afterwards? And if so, like,
So in 5 years of working together, did you guys become close? And outside of recording, would you guys hang out afterwards and do things together?
Oh yeah, sure. You know, 'cause like Ben lives in LA and Rob's in Indiana, and Alex, you moved. Right? You started off in New York and then moved to LA. It was funny because whenever we were doing performance capture together, typically it would be a 3-week block, and you know, old friends would come back whenever they had lines, and because the NDA was so strict, as we mentioned before, you know, we had no one else to talk about the work except each other. So yes, many a beer was had out on Long Island, you know, and we'd be in a little booth somewhere, and you know, some 18, 19-year-old waiter would come and take our orders, and as they'd walk away, we'd look at each other and go, I wonder if he knows, if he's a big Red Dead fan, if he knows what the hell he just said, you know? I remember once I had a little Rockstar sticker on my phone once, and I just had it on the table, as you do, you know, and a guy goes, oh yeah, Rockstar, they're awesome. Hey, have you heard they're gonna make a new Red Dead? I was like, oh really? Oh, that's great. I love that, because I loved the first one. That was awesome. But yeah, we totally, I mean, we obviously, everyone I can say with my hand on my heart had a deep, deep respect and love for the story, and we wanted to serve the narrative as well as possible. So, you know, we talked and explored each other's characters and certain storylines in great, great detail, because we knew how much the previous Red Dead Redemption was so much loved by the fans, and we wanted to pay respect to that and try and do the best job that we could. So yeah, a lot of deep friendships were formed over talking about our work and, you know, having beers and, you know, and just talking about performance capture and everything. It was, yeah, absolutely.
Great question, yeah. All All right, we're going to get one more question in, and okay, you did the thing. You got my attention at work. You waved your hand enough. So in the green shirt.
So, how much have you, all of you guys, how much have you played the games yourselves, and how do you dress your Arthur?
How much have you played the games yourselves, and when you do, how do you dress your Arthur?
I'm gonna get this out of the way. I haven't played any of the games, and I haven't played any of the first game either, or Undead Nightmare. And it's not because I don't want to; it's because I have 2 young kids, and I was gone from them. They were 2 when I started, and they were 6 when I basically came back home. So now that I'm home, I don't think it's fair for me to go say, hey, all right, you guys hang out, and I'm gonna go play a video game now with you. So I really will enjoy playing these games at some point, and I'll sit in my chicken coop, that's my game room, and I will hang out for months and enjoy every second of it. But it's just not the right time for me yet.
Well, I also have 2 small boys, and I played the hell out of it. But, to be fair, the only time I could was in the middle of the night, so there was a lot of lost sleep, I'm on my 2nd playthrough now. Arthur's slightly, he doesn't look exactly like me. There's enough of a resemblance, there's not enough of a resemblance where I can look at it objectively, so it's interesting to just see how the work panned out. That's what my first playthrough. My wife, very graciously, she gave me 4 days to play it non-stop once it came out, and I didn't even get to chapter 3. Yeah, and my Arthur, I started him off, I like him in black, and I keep him pretty trimmed, neatly trimmed with a bit of stubble. And then, but then, as the story progressed, I would try different things out, and I liked him with a beard by the end of it. He had a big beard, because I feel that he grows as a character, and as do all the characters in Red Dead Redemption 2, I think that he changes, and so his outward appearance should reflect that.
I don't have any children. And I just 2 weeks ago got 100% complete. Took 7 days, 10 hours, according to the little thing at the bottom. I am proud. In the first playthrough, I kept the costume canonical. I did exactly as the developers intended, I suppose.
Blue shirt.
The blue shirt in the summer, and then the duster coat in the regular temperature, and then the winter. And then the second playthrough, all sorts of things. I changed the costume up all the time. How about you?
Well, truth, I have not finished it myself. I have watched it a lot. So I didn't really get to make the fashion choices so much. I kept him with it mostly just how it was. I didn't get super creative because I was very distracted by everything I could be doing. So yeah, I will in spurts keep playing, but I've watched a few different people play, and it's a really magical thing. It's like watching a giant movie, which I really enjoy, because I get really frustrated, and apparently my hands get very tense. I don't know how to relax into playing just yet. So I was waking up and kind of couldn't move. I was almost too into it. So yeah, I find being a spectator gets me farther faster. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cast of Red Dead Redemption 2.
Thank you, everyone. If we missed anybody's questions, we'll be back at our tables as quick as we can get there, I think.
Yeah, so what we're going to do for the rest of the afternoon, you guys are here tomorrow too, correct?
Yeah.
For the rest of the weekend, if you head to the exhibitors hall, if we did not get to your question, please stop by, say hi to each one of them. And one more time, round of applause. And with the people out the seats, and with the exhibitor leads, we reset the room. Thank you for coming, and enjoy the rest of your weekend at Fan Expo Canada 2019.
Thank you, guys.